In this video I want to go over the basics of hooking up a Sensormatic or American Dynamics Touch Tracker 16. I've got two of them here. The one on the left is the original version and the one on the right is the current ADTT16E. The connections for this one is the same as this one, so something to keep in mind if this is what you're using. For the sake of the video, I'm going to stick with the newer one though. A couple things you're going to need. An EIM, electronic interface module, and 24 volt AC power supply. So we'll take a look at the EIM first. You're going to see three connections on it. DB9 connector, RJ45 jack, and a spot for a 5-pin terminal block. You're also going to want to remove the screw from the front cover and pop it off. And look for the 3 pins with the jumper, number 321. The jumper on pins 1 and 2 is terminated. The jumper on pins 2 and 3 is unterminated. Now, if you're installing only one touch tracker, you want pins 1 and 2 jumpered. You want this terminated. 2 and 3 is used if you're installing 2 touch trackers. One of your EIMs is unterminated and the one at the end of your SensorNet run is terminated. So next thing is the 5-pin terminal block, which is where the power connects to and your SensorNet communication comes out of. Now this plugs into the side of the EIM, and the connections on this from left to right would be SensorNet, power, ground, power, and SensorNet. And SensorNet isn't polarized like RS485, so it doesn't matter which end terminal you have the SensorNet wires plugged into. Now I've already kind of wired this one up so you get an idea of what it's going to look like when it's all done. And you're just going to plug that into the side of the EIM like that. Now from here your SensorNet wires can either go into the dome that you want to control, or they can go into a J-box. It's however you have your installation set up as. The next thing to look at is the DB9 connector on the EIM. Now this is going to connect the EIM to whatever switching device you have. If you're using an Intelex, you would use something like a DB9 to DB9 cable. If you were using something like an older multiplexer, like an RV2216 or something, you would need like a DB9 to RJ11. So the cable you use on that port is kind of dependent on whatever switching system you use. The RJ45 jack just uses a standard RJ45 flip cable. One end goes in there, and the other end goes into the back of the touch tracker. Now if you plugged in your transformer, everything would power up and you'd be ready to configure it. So obviously I don't have the power hooked up to this one, but I've got an Intelex here that does have a touch tracker 16 on it, so take a look. Plug the RJ45 cable in and power up. Alright, I've got a password in here. And first thing you're going to want to do is go into the menu and use the trackball to scroll down to the option that says TOG primary secondary. When you find that, just hit the button next to it. It says primary unit, change with next. If you're installing one touch tracker, it has to be configured as the primary unit. If you're installing 2 touch trackers, one has to be the primary unit, the other one has to be the secondary unit, and you would use the next button to change the option there. So this needs to be the primary unit since it's the only one here. hit menu to exit out. Next thing you want to do is go back into the menu and scroll down to Config Devices. And what this option does is allow you to configure the touch tracker to whatever switching device you have it hooked up to. I have a 4-channel Intellex hooked up, so it's on MUX 4 Possum. Use the next button to scroll through all your options. Now the black touch trackers with the latest firmware are going to have more options than the white touch trackers or the older black touch trackers. You can run the upgrade for the black touch trackers. You can get it from the American Dynamics website, and that's going to allow you to use it with the Multivision Quest multiplexers. That's what the triplex is for, along with eDVR. Now, if you're not going to hook up a switching system to the touch tracker and you just want to use it for dome control, you can set it to none as your device. Now, once we've got everything set up, you should have dome control with your tracker ball and zoom and function. Pressing the number button and the camera icon will change the camera on the screen and give you dome control. And pressing the display button will change from split screen to full screen and back. So hopefully that kind of answered any questions you might have about hooking this up. If you have any other questions or comments, go ahead and drop them in the comments section below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching.